Good evening, and welcome to another scintillating episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your somnambulant and sophisticated host, Voice of Doom. Alright. I figured I'd do another diatribe because I've been watching myself, which is something I like to do once in a while when I feel like I've done a few good monologues. And I go back and look at them and watch myself, which is a form of, psychological masturbation or whatever. But I wanted to give more advice because the political scene will go as it goes, and I might touch on that a bit on this episode, but I mostly wanted to talk about more going on along the lines of what I was talking about with marriage and dating and relationships. Just to get on that vein, the problem is what happens is I go through my day and get done what I have to get done, and then I am free. And freedom is a dangerous thing, because when you can do what you want, many times you do what you want, which includes drinking alcohol and gambling, because I've been on a good run lately, so I've been going to the casino and drinking and gambling and making money. Well, sometimes you don't make money. Today was one of those days, and it's alright because I'm kind of caught up. I don't really worry about that. But the problem with freedom is that you end up doing what you want, and by the time you want to do a diatribe, you're not coherent. But I'll try my best, because I wanted to say a few things, because I inspired myself. I was watching the last diatribe, and it was about marriage and how people should consider it an economic unit, and work together and not be playing games. The games and mind games, and you should know what I'm thinking, and I'm not going to say that, that should all end. If people were more direct with each other, then it might be more boring because you won't have fights all the time, but you'd have a peaceful, coexistence. But, see these women, especially women now, because the whole human relationship dynamics have changed over the last few years, where instead of men hounding around, sniffing for women and trying to find somebody, it's the women that are looking for the men, because the men are kind of tired of the women playing games. And the women don't know what to do, because they don't want to be housewives, and they want to be career people, but they want to have a family, and it's very difficult to do that. And you got to have a plan. And if you're rich enough, then just have some nannies and daycares take care of your kids and raise them for you, and you can go about making money and see how that works out. So it's not easy. The only way to make it work is, you either work together, all across the board, or one person takes care of the house and one person takes care of getting income. That's what I did because I didn't want to change diapers in the middle of the night when I worked 5-6 days a week. So I said, you stay home while the kids are in their infancy, and I will make as much as I can, and we'll live on what we can make, what I can make. And we had to get food stamps, and we had to do a lot of things, but that's the way we did it, and it was a humble lifestyle. We weren't going to Catalina Island every other week for a little vacation. We were struggling. But I'll get to my point, because I had a point to make about the women who always say, where do I find a man? Where do I find a good man? So I'll tell you how to do it. I've had every secret and every thing about life I've revealed over my last 550 or so diatribes that nobody watches. The secret to life is in there. If you watched them all, you would know the secret. You would know how to live, and you would know your future going into the millennia. But people don't listen to me, so that's fine. I'll tell you how to find somebody and how I did it. Now, if you want to find somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with and have kids together and go through the blood and guts of having kids, literally, you find someone that shares your basic core beliefs about how life is. And that means, if you're religious, then go to your church. And if you're into painting, then go to painting classes. And if you're into pottery, go to pottery class, whatever. If you're into literature, you go to college, or you join book clubs. Whatever your passion is, if you're into nature, then you go to a whole lot of nature. Whatever they do. We have a hike, you could look at any city like Carson City, and we're having a hike here, we're having a hike there. The nature club's here, the 4-H club is over here, we're doing a thing on the farm. Whatever. You got a passion. If you don't have a passion, you got a problem. So don't even think about having a relationship until you have a passion, and you get your passion, and then you find someone that has the same passion. It's very simple. When I was single, and sometimes when you're a male and you're a heterosexual male with urges, you want somebody now. And it's not just sexual, it's just like, I need somebody to be with, and nobody wants to be with me because I'm a single geek who has no real, gravitas. I don't have a bank account with anything in it except bounce checks, and it's like, I want somebody. Okay. Now you get into that mode, and you think, how are you going to find somebody? And what I did after my ex-girlfriend and I broke up, and she moved to LA, and then I moved to LA, and she got into Buddhism, and she wanted me to get into it, and I got into it, and I went to meetings. 5 or 6 days a week. I mean, they were real fanatics back then. And they got me really hooked into it. And I saw a woman there that looked lonely, and I thought she was pretty, and I married her. And I knew that even though she was out of her mind, that we had the same basic foundation of belief in cause and effect. There was going to be no argument about that. We both believed very firmly in Nichiren's Buddhism. So no matter what happened, we would persevere because our basic foundation of what we believed in, we agreed on. Doesn't matter if she didn't like the fact that I didn't make enough money. Didn't matter if she was going off the deep end with PMS, really screaming, I mean really having a, cow where you think you might have to call the authorities. And we have called the authorities. We've gone to the police station because she went out of her mind. And it escalated into violence. Now, even with all that happening, we had a basic foundation of belief in the law of cause and effect. And that gives you more wisdom, no matter how insane you might be, than your average person, because you just think on different levels. I mean, I'm not doing that to be superior. It's just when you realize that the law of cause and effect is supreme, then you can think about things in much more succinct and reasonable ways. Because if you do this, then this is going to happen. And even if it doesn't happen now, it'll happen later. And so we had an understanding that we both had this foundation of belief. And it worked for us. Now, anybody can do that. You don't have to be religious. If you like drawing, then go to an art class. You're going to meet somebody who likes art. Or go to museums and just hang out there and strike up a conversation with somebody who likes esoteric history, archaeology, whatever. If you're a musician, if you're a singer, then put yourself out there. Go to some classes or go to some... There's plenty of places where you can, do what you want to do musically, and then you meet other people who like music. So simple. You go to bars and hope some guy has some, swag or whatever the hell they want to call it, has a game or whatever, and hope that he's the right guy. Maybe you'll get lucky, and it is. But I mean, start with the foundation of what you're passionate about. Pursue that. Go around into groups that like that and find somebody who likes the same thing. I mean, it's so simple. I don't know why I have to say it. And nobody will watch this anyway. But one day I'll probably make some snippets and start a TikTok. I don't know. I don't really want to bother. If you don't want to see it, don't watch it. But it's wisdom. It would help millions of people. I'll leave it there. I just had this little insight of advice for people who are lonely. There are ways to find people, but don't just go to bars and hope that they show up, because they'll be half crocked, and who knows what will happen after that. So that's it. 15 minutes. Good job. See you later.